What if your mind, scattered by 1,000 daily distractions, holds a power you've never truly unleashed? What if the key to unbeatable strength lies not in adding more, but in focusing the power you already possess? True discipline isn't about restriction. It's about aiming the full force of your will. Harness discipline, defy distractions. Stoic Mind, Unbeatable Power. Compiled and published by Stoic Power. Lesson 1. The power of focus. Imagine holding a magnifying glass on a sunny day. If you wave it around randomly, its power is diffused and harmless. The sunlight passes through it, but it accomplishes nothing. You can wave it for hours over a piece of paper, and nothing will happen. But if you hold the glass perfectly still, if you find the precise focal point and hold it there with unwavering discipline, something magical occurs. The scattered rays of sunlight converge into a single, intensely powerful point of light, a point so potent it can burn through the paper and ignite a flame. That scattered sunlight is your mind in its natural, distracted state. That focused point of burning light is your mind under the command of discipline. This leads to one of the most common and frustrating inner conflicts of modern life. We possess an incredible power, our attention, but we allow it to be scattered across 100 different things at once. We sit down to work, but our mind is also on our phone, on a conversation from yesterday, on our worries about tomorrow. The problem statement is this: a scattered mind is a powerless mind. We feel perpetually busy but unproductive, stretched thin but achieving little of substance. We mistake the frantic motion of waving the magnifying glass around for progress, all while the paper of our true potential remains unmarked and unignited. This constant state of distraction leads to shallow work, strained relationships, and a persistent, low-grade anxiety that we are never quite giving our best to anything. The transformative solution is to embrace the Stoic art of prosohe, a word that means a continuous, vigilant, and disciplined state of attention. You must learn to become the master of your own magnifying glass. The core idea is that your focus is your most precious resource, more valuable than your time or your money, because it determines the quality of everything you do. To harness discipline is to make a conscious choice to stop waving your attention around and to start holding it steady on the single point that matters most in this moment. This is not about becoming a robot. It's about becoming a craftsman. It is the understanding that all great works, all deep relationships, all profound insights are born from the fire of sustained, uninterrupted focus. This ancient wisdom from the Stoics is more relevant today than ever before. We live in an economy designed to fracture our attention, to pull our magnifying glass toward 1,000 different trivialities. Reclaiming your focus is an act of rebellion against this chaos. It is the first and most critical step in taking back control of your own mind. When you can command your focus, you can direct the full force of your intelligence and will toward any challenge, igniting solutions and burning through obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. You move from being a passive victim of distraction to an active wielder of immense creative power. To begin this practice, you must train your focus muscle with a simple daily exercise. This week, you will practice the 5-minute focus. Choose one task that you would normally do with a scattered mind, perhaps writing an important email, reading a chapter of a book, or even a household chore. Before you begin, you will set a timer for just 5 minutes. For those 5 minutes, and only for those 5 minutes, you will make a sacred vow to yourself. You will do nothing but that one single task. If your phone buzzes, you will ignore it. If a random thought pops into your head, you will gently acknowledge it and return your focus to the task. If you feel the urge to switch to another tab on your computer, you will resist. Your job is not to be perfect. Your mind will wander. The practice is not in achieving a state of flawless concentration. The practice is in the gentle but firm act of returning. Each time you notice your focus has drifted and you bring it back to the task at hand, you have just completed one repetition at the mental gym. You are strengthening the muscle of your attention. Do this once a day for a week. The task is so short that the resistance from your mind will be minimal, yet the cumulative effect is powerful. The benefit of this daily training is that your capacity for sustained focus will begin to grow. 5 minutes will soon feel easy, and you can extend it to 10, then 20. You will start to feel the immense satisfaction of deep work, of applying the full, undivided power of your mind to a single point. The quality of your output will improve dramatically, and the anxiety of a scattered mind will begin to recede, replaced by the calm confidence of a mind under your command. You are learning to hold the magnifying glass still, and you are about to discover the fire you can create. The power of focus is your primary tool, but this tool can be easily knocked from your hand by the sudden eruption of your own emotions. In our next lesson, we will learn how to master our emotional triggers, ensuring that our focused mind is never hijacked by impulsive reactions. If you are ready to stop scattering your power and start focusing it, declare your intention in the comments below. I will hold the glass still. Your commitment helps our entire community to find its focus. Please remember to subscribe to the Stoic Power channel and like this video to help us ignite more minds. Lesson 2. Mastering emotional triggers. Imagine an expert bomb disposal technician approaching a volatile, unstable device. The device is wired with sensitive triggers. A wrong move, a sudden jolt, or a moment of panic could set it off, causing catastrophic damage. The technician does not approach with fear or aggression. They approach with supreme calm, respect for the power they are dealing with, and a focused, analytical mind. Their first job is not to rip the wires out, but to study the mechanism. They identify the triggers, understand how they are connected, and only then, with a steady hand and precise knowledge, do they carefully and deliberately diffuse the device, rendering it harmless. That volatile device is your emotional trigger system. This is the scene of a constant and exhausting inner conflict. We walk through life wired with our own emotional triggers. A specific tone of voice from a loved one, a critical comment from a boss, the feeling of being ignored or disrespected. The problem statement is this: because we have not studied our own wiring, we are constantly, accidentally setting ourselves off. Someone says or does something. One of our hidden triggers is tripped, and an explosion of anger, anxiety, or defensiveness erupts before we even know what is happening. We then have to deal with the wreckage. Damaged relationships, words we can't take back, and a profound sense of being out of control of our own reactions. We are living in a minefield of our own making. The transformative solution is to become the calm, expert technician of your own inner world. You must stop being a victim of your emotional explosions and start becoming a student of their mechanisms. The core idea, a central tenet of Stoicism, is that it is not the external event itself that triggers you, but your judgment about the event. The critical comment is just words. The trigger is the internal belief that fires immediately. They think I'm incompetent, or they are trying to undermine me. Mastering your triggers means learning to get in front of that instantaneous judgment, to study it, and to consciously choose to diffuse it before it leads to an emotional detonation. This wisdom transforms you from a walking bomb into a master of emotional ordnance. The Stoics taught that we must treat our first impressions of things, our automatic judgments, as suspicious messengers that need to be questioned, not as absolute truths to be acted upon. When you can do this, you achieve a level of freedom and stability that is unshakable. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's words or actions. You can encounter a potential trigger, and with the steady hand of reason, calmly snip the wire connecting it to your emotional charge. The device remains inert. The explosion is averted. The power remains in your hands. To begin this work of emotional diffusal, you must first map your own minefield. For the next week, your task is to become a detective of your own triggers. You will need a journal or a note on your phone. Every time you experience a disproportionately strong emotional reaction, a sudden flash of anger, a wave of anxiety, a surge of defensiveness, you must pause as soon as you can and perform a trigger analysis. You will write down 3 things. First, the event. What objectively happened? E.g., my partner used a sarcastic tone of voice. Second, the explosion. What was my immediate, raw emotional reaction? E.g., I felt a hot flash of anger and defensiveness. Third, and this is the most crucial step, the wire. What was the hidden belief or judgment that connected the event to the explosion? E.g., the wire was the belief, they don't respect me. Be relentlessly honest in identifying that wire. It is often a deeply held insecurity or a rigid expectation about how others should behave. The goal for this week is not to fix the triggers, but simply to find them and tag them. You are creating a map of your own internal wiring. You are the technician, studying the schematics of the device before you attempt to disarm it. The benefit of this practice is a powerful sense of revelation. You will start to see the patterns in your reactions. You will realize that it's often the same one or two wires, the same core beliefs about not being respected, not being good enough, or not being safe, that are responsible for most of your emotional explosions. This knowledge itself is power. It demystifies your reactions and removes the sense of being hijacked. You are no longer dealing with a mysterious, volatile device. You are looking at a clear, understandable mechanism, and what you can understand, you can learn to control. You have learned to identify your triggers, but identifying a bomb is not the same as having the nerve to defuse it. This requires a deeper kind of strength, a resilience of the mind that can withstand pressure. In our next lesson, we will explore how to cultivate true mental toughness, the steady hand that allows you to do the hard work of self-mastery. If you are ready to become the master technician of your own mind, declare it in the comments. I will study the device. Your commitment to self-awareness helps us all to proceed with caution and skill. Remember to subscribe to Stoic Power to continue your training in emotional mastery. Lesson 3. Cultivating mental toughness. Imagine a seasoned mountaineer preparing to ascend a formidable, ice-covered peak. He does not simply hope for good weather. He trains for the worst storm. He spends months in brutal conditions, deliberately exposing his body to the biting cold and his lungs to the thin air. He carries a heavy pack on practice climbs, strengthening his legs and his resolve. He is not a masochist, he is a strategist. He understands that the mountain will be unforgiving and that his comfort is irrelevant to its peak. He is cultivating a toughness that will allow him to endure the inevitable hardship and to keep climbing when others, less prepared, have turned back. His toughness is not an absence of feeling. He feels the cold, he feels the exhaustion, but a surplus of will. This illustrates a vital inner conflict. We all desire to be mentally tough, to be the kind of person who can withstand pressure and persevere through adversity. Yet, our daily lives are often an exercise in seeking comfort and avoiding all forms of strain. The problem statement is this: our aversion to discomfort is the primary obstacle to developing mental toughness. We want the resilience of the mountaineer, but we are unwilling to train in the cold. We treat any form of psychological or emotional strain as something to be immediately medicated or distracted from. By constantly choosing the easy path, we ensure that our muscles of will and resolve remain weak and undeveloped. When a real-life storm hits, we find we have no strength to endure it. The transformative solution is to embrace the Stoic principle of voluntary hardship. You must become the mountaineer of your own mind, deliberately and strategically exposing yourself to controlled doses of discomfort in order to build a resilience that is weatherproof. The core idea is that mental toughness is not a trait you are born with. It is a skill you develop through practice. Just as a muscle grows stronger only when it is forced to lift a weight that is heavier than it is used to, your will grows stronger only when you force it to endure something your mind wants to flee from. You must stop seeing discomfort as the enemy and start seeing it as your training partner. This ancient wisdom is the very forge of a Stoic mind. Philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius didn't just write about these ideas, they lived them. They would intentionally eat simple food, sleep on hard surfaces, or wear thin clothing in the cold. They were not trying to punish themselves, they were training. They were vaccinating themselves against misfortune. By getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in small, controlled ways, they ensured that when real misfortune struck, exile, betrayal, disease, it would not have the power to break their spirit. They had already trained for the storm. To begin cultivating your own mental toughness, you must start with small, manageable reps of voluntary discomfort. This week, your task is to choose one specific, recurring comfort that you will consciously deny yourself. It must be something that is safe, but that your mind will resist. For example, you could commit to taking a cold shower every morning. You could choose to fast for a 16-hour period twice during the week. You could intentionally take on a difficult task at work that you would normally avoid. Or you could commit to a difficult conversation you've been putting off. The key is not the act itself, but your inner stance while performing it. As you step into the cold water or begin the difficult conversation, you will hear a loud, whining voice in your head, the voice of your comfort-seeking self. It will scream at you to stop. It will rationalize, bargain, and complain. Your training is to simply notice this voice, to acknowledge its presence, and to calmly proceed with your chosen action anyway. You are not fighting the voice. You are simply demonstrating that it is not in command. You are. The mountaineer feels the cold, but he keeps climbing. The benefit of this practice is the development of a deep, unshakable confidence in your own ability to endure. Each time you successfully choose discomfort over comfort, you are casting a vote for your stronger self. You are rewriting the narrative in your head from "I can't handle this" to "I can handle this." This newfound toughness will spill over into every area of your life. You will become less fearful of challenges, more resilient in the face of setbacks, and more capable of doing the hard things required to achieve your goals. You are no longer the person who hopes for no storms. You are the mountaineer who is trained to climb through them. Mental toughness gives you the strength to endure acute challenges. But life is not just a series of mountains. It is also a long, daily trek. In our next lesson, we will learn how to build the daily habits of resilience that allow you to withstand the constant, grinding pressure of everyday life. If you are ready to start your training, declare it in the comments. I will train for the storm. Your willingness to embrace discomfort strengthens our entire expedition. Remember to subscribe to Stoic Power to prepare for the long climb ahead. Lesson 4. Building Daily Resilience. Imagine a master stonemason tasked with building a great seawall, a barrier designed to withstand the relentless, crashing waves of the ocean for centuries. He does not try to build the entire wall in a single day. He knows such an effort would be futile and lead to a weak, unstable structure. Instead, his focus is on one thing and one thing only: laying a single stone perfectly. He chooses the stone with care, shapes it with precision, and sets it in its place with skill and focus. Then he moves to the next stone, and the next. The Great Wall, a monumental feat of engineering and resilience, rises not from a grand singular act of creation, but from the simple, disciplined, and patient repetition of a single perfect action. This highlights a critical inner conflict we face in our pursuit of self-improvement. We are often inspired to make great, sweeping changes in our lives. We want to become disciplined, focused, and resilient overnight. The problem statement is this: our desire for instant transformation often leads to burnout and failure. We try to build the entire wall in a day. We set a dozen ambitious goals at once, maintain them with frantic energy for a week or two, and then inevitably crash, overwhelmed and demoralized, concluding that we just don't have the discipline. We have misunderstood the nature of resilience. We think it's a thunderclap, when in fact, it is the slow, quiet, and steady dripping of water that eventually wears away stone. The transformative solution is to embrace the mindset of the master stonemason. You must understand that daily resilience is not built through heroic, occasional efforts, but through small, consistent, and well-executed daily habits. The core idea is that your character is the sum of your daily actions. Every small choice you make, to get up on time or hit snooze, to eat a healthy meal or junk food, to do a few minutes of exercise or skip it, is another stone being laid in the wall of your resilience. The goal is not to be perfect every day, but to be consistent, to show up and lay one more stone, especially on the days you don't feel like it. This Stoic emphasis on the power of daily routine and habit is a practical path to building an unbeatable mind. The Stoics knew that a man's philosophy is not what he says, but what he does, day in and day out. They built their mental and emotional fortitude not by waiting for crises to test them, but by practicing their principles in the small, mundane moments of each day. They were building their seawall long before the storm clouds gathered, one perfectly laid stone at a time. This approach transforms the daunting task of becoming resilient into the manageable, daily task of laying today's stone well. To begin building your own wall of daily resilience, you must choose your one stone. For the next week, your task is not to change your entire life. Your task is to choose one and only one small positive habit that you will commit to doing every single day. This habit should be what is known as a keystone habit, a small action that tends to create a positive ripple effect in other areas of your life. Examples might include 5 minutes of meditation each morning, a 10-minute walk at lunchtime, writing down 3 things you're grateful for before bed, or reading 10 pages of a challenging book. The action itself should be so small that it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. The goal is not to achieve a specific outcome, like losing weight or finishing the book in 1 week. The goal is to build the muscle of consistency. Your entire focus is on not breaking the chain. You will get a calendar, and for every day you successfully lay your one stone, you will put a large X over that day. Your mission for the week, and then for the month, is to create an unbroken chain of X's. As you do this, your mind will resist. It will tell you you're too tired, too busy, or that this one small thing doesn't matter. This is the moment of truth. This is where resilience is built. Overcoming that small internal voice of resistance is the act of laying your stone perfectly. The benefit of this practice is that you will be building 2 things at once. First, you will be getting the direct benefit of the habit itself. But more importantly, you will be proving to yourself, day after day, that you are the kind of person who does what they say they will do. You are building self-trust, which is the absolute bedrock of resilience. Once you have a long, unbroken chain of consistency with one small habit, adding a second one becomes infinitely easier. You are no longer the man who dreams of a great wall. You are the stonemason who knows with quiet confidence exactly how to build one. Building resilience stone by stone creates a powerful defensive structure. But to truly harness discipline, we must also master the offensive art of self-command. In our next lesson, we will explore the art of self-control, learning to guide our inner energies with purpose. If you're ready to start building your wall, tell us in the comments what your one stone will be this week. Your commitment inspires others to lay their first stone. Please subscribe to Stoic Power and let's build together. Lesson 5. The Art of Self-Control. Imagine a skilled charioteer in a grand arena. He stands in a light chariot, holding the reins to 2 powerful spirited horses. One horse is noble and disciplined, responsive to the lightest touch. The other is wild, rebellious, and prone to sudden urges. The race will not be won by letting the wild horse run free, for it would surely pull the chariot into a wall. Nor will it be won by trying to beat the wild horse into submission, for its spirit and strength are needed for speed. The victory lies in the hands of the charioteer. His art is one of dynamic control, a constant, skillful balance of restraint and release, guiding the combined power of both horses toward a single, focused goal. The charioteer is your reason, and the horses are your appetites and impulses. This ancient image from Plato's Phaedrus perfectly captures a core inner conflict. We are torn between our higher aspirations and our lower appetites. We want to be healthy, but we crave the unhealthy food. We want to be productive, but we are drawn to the easy distraction. We want to be patient, but we are pulled by the urge to lash out in anger. The problem statement is this: a lack of self-control makes a man a slave to his own impulses. He is the unskilled charioteer being dragged around the arena by his wildest horse, crashing from one poor decision to the next, never reaching his intended destination. He feels powerless and ashamed, not because he lacks strength, but because he has not yet learned the art of skillfully guiding the strength he already possesses. The transformative solution is to embrace the Stoic art of self-control. seeing yourself as the wise charioteer. This is not about self-denial for its own sake. It is about self-command for the sake of a higher purpose. The core idea is that your impulses, appetites, and desires are not inherently evil. They are simply powerful, raw energies. Self-control is the art of harnessing these energies and directing them toward your chosen goals, rather than allowing them to direct you. It is the application of your reason as the guiding hand on the reins, transforming the chaotic energy of your impulses into the focused power that drives you toward victory. The Stoics saw self-control, or sophrosyne, as one of the cardinal virtues. It was the foundation of a free and rational life. A man who cannot control his own appetites, they argued, is no different from a slave. He may think he is free as he indulges his every whim, but he is actually bound by the invisible chains of his own compulsions. True freedom is the ability to choose your response, to say no to a destructive impulse in favor of a constructive, long-term goal. It is the freedom of the charioteer who decides the course of the race, rather than being a passenger on a runaway ride. To begin practicing the art of the charioteer, you must learn to work with, not against, your impulses. For the next week, your task is to practice the ride and redirect. First, you must identify one specific impulse that consistently pulls you off course. It could be the impulse to check your phone every 5 minutes, the impulse to eat sugary snacks in the afternoon, or the impulse to make a sarcastic comment in conversation. Choose one wild horse to focus on. Next, when you feel the pull of that impulse, your job is not to fight it with brute force. Do not tell yourself, "I must not do this," as this often creates a backlash. Instead, you will ride the initial urge. You will acknowledge its presence and its power. Say to yourself, there is the urge to check my phone. I feel its pull. Then, you will practice the redirect. You will have a pre-planned, positive action to immediately take its place. For example, when I feel the urge to check my phone, I will instead take 3 deep breaths and ask myself what is most important right now. Or, when I feel the urge for a sugary snack, I will instead drink a large glass of cold water. The redirect must be simple and immediate. You are not trying to kill the wild horse. You are skillfully steering it onto a different path. You are acknowledging its energy but refusing to let it choose the direction. With each successful redirect, you are strengthening your grip on the reins. You are training the wild horse, slowly but surely, to respond to your command. The benefit of this practice is the cultivation of a profound sense of agency over your own life. You will begin to feel less like a victim of your cravings and more like the master of your own choices. This art of self-control will free up enormous amounts of mental and physical energy that were previously being wasted on indulging destructive impulses and the subsequent guilt. You are becoming the skilled charioteer, capable of guiding all your power toward the finish line of your own choosing. Self-control allows you to master your inner world. But we live in an outer world that is filled with an ever-increasing number of attempts to hijack our attention. In our next lesson, we will learn how to transform these external distractions from a weakness into a source of strength. If you are ready to take the reins, declare it in the comments. I am the charioteer. Your declaration of self-command guides us all. Remember to subscribe to Stoic Power and continue the race towards self-mastery. Lesson 6. Transforming distractions into strength. Imagine an oyster living on the ocean floor. Its life is one of quiet, simple existence. But one day, a foreign object, a sharp grain of sand, finds its way inside the oyster's shell. This grain of sand is an irritation, a constant source of friction and discomfort. The oyster has 2 choices. It could allow the irritation to fester, to become a source of chronic pain that eventually weakens and kills it. Or, it can perform a quiet miracle of alchemy. It can begin to secrete a beautiful, iridescent substance called nacre, coating the irritating grain of sand, layer by layer, until the source of its pain has been transformed into a smooth, luminous pearl. The distraction, the irritation, has become the very core of a new and precious creation. This is a powerful metaphor for our relationship with the distractions of the modern world. We are constantly invaded by our own grains of sand, The incessant ping of a notification, the lure of a social media feed, the pull of a sensationalist headline, the chatter of a nearby conversation. The inner conflict is that we see these distractions solely as enemies of our focus. The problem statement is this: by only seeing distractions as a negative force to be avoided, we remain in a state of constant defensive struggle. We try to build walls to keep the sand out, but the world is full of sand, and some of it will always get in. This defensive posture is exhausting, and every time a distraction successfully breaks through our defenses, we feel frustrated and defeated. The transformative solution is to become the alchemist of your own attention. You must learn the art of transforming the irritating grain of a distraction into the polished pearl of a stronger will. The core idea is that every single distraction, no matter how trivial, is an opportunity to practice your discipline. It is a chance to perform one more rep at the mental gym. Instead of seeing a distraction as a failure of your focus, you can choose to see it as a welcome challenge, a chance to consciously and deliberately return your attention to your chosen task. The distraction is no longer a bug. It's a feature of your training environment. This Stoic mindset flips the entire dynamic on its head. The Stoics taught that obstacles are not impediments to action, but opportunities for virtuous action. We can adapt this wisdom for the modern age. Distractions are not impediments to focus. They are opportunities to practice the art of focusing. When you adopt this perspective, the world is no longer a minefield of attention-grabbing threats. It becomes a gymnasium, filled with equipment perfectly designed to strengthen your resolve. The buzz of your phone is no longer an enemy. It is a dumbbell waiting to be lifted. The lure of the internet is no longer a siren's call. It is a resistance band to be stretched. To begin this alchemical practice, you must change your response protocol to distractions. For the next week, your task is to greet every distraction not with frustration, but with a quiet sense of opportunity. When you are engaged in a focused task and a distraction arises, an external noise or an internal thought, you will perform a 3-step pearl formation technique. Step 1 is to notice. Simply notice the distraction without judgment. Mentally label it. A notification, or there is the thought about my weekend plans. Step 2 is to reaffirm. You will silently and calmly reaffirm your original intention. You can say to yourself, my commitment right now is to this report. This brief statement acts as a powerful anchor, reminding your brain of your chosen priority. Step 3 is the most important. Return with a smile. You will gently and deliberately return your focus to your task, and as you do, you will allow a small internal smile of satisfaction. This smile is crucial. It is the act of secreting the nacre. You are reframing the experience from a moment of failure, I got distracted, to a moment of victory, I successfully practiced my focus. You are rewarding yourself for the act of returning, not punishing yourself for the act of straying. Each time you complete this 3-step process, you are coating the irritating grain of sand with another layer of pearl. You are taking something that was once a source of frustration and using it to build something beautiful and strong, your own unwavering discipline. The benefit of this practice is that you will begin to feel an incredible sense of empowerment in the face of our distracting world. You will no longer feel like a helpless victim. The power of distractions to derail you will diminish because you are systematically using them as fuel for your own training. You are not just building a tolerance for distraction, you are building a strength from distraction. You are becoming the oyster, a quiet alchemist turning the grit of the world into the pearl of a focused mind. You have learned to transform even your distractions into tools for building strength. Now, with all these pieces in place, it is time to unleash the full force of what you have built. In our final lesson, we will explore how to unlock and express your unbeatable inner power. If you are ready to become the alchemist of your own attention, share your commitment in the comments. Every distraction is a rep. Your perspective shift strengthens our collective resolve. Please subscribe to Stoic Power and prepare to unleash your full potential. Lesson 7. Unleashing unbeatable inner power. Imagine a deep and mighty river. On its surface, There may be ripples, eddies, and occasional floating leaves. But beneath this surface lies the river's true character, a vast, silent, and immensely powerful current moving with unstoppable force. This current does not need to roar to prove its strength. It does not smash against obstacles in a rage. It flows with a quiet, inexorable power that can carve canyons through solid rock over time. It is a force that is both serene and unstoppable. This deep, silent, powerful current is the unbeatable inner power that resides within a fully disciplined Stoic mind. This brings us to our final inner conflict, the culmination of our journey. Even after we have practiced focus, mastered our triggers, and built resilience, we can still feel that our power is somehow contained, that we are not fully expressing the strength we have built. The problem statement is that we often mistake power for its loud external expressions. A booming voice, a dominant personality, or a display of force. We have built this incredible inner strength, but we are still looking for an external validation that it exists. We are the mighty river, believing its power is only real if it makes a lot of noise splashing on the surface. The transformative solution is to understand that unbeatable inner power is not something you project. It is something you embody. It is the final, integrated expression of all the skills you have honed. The core idea is that this power is characterized by a deep and profound quiet. It is the calm focus of the mind that holds the magnifying glass still. It is the steady hand of the technician diffusing the bomb. It is the endurance of the mountaineer in the storm. It is the patient consistency of the stonemason. It is the skillful guidance of the charioteer. It is the quiet alchemy of the oyster. When all these qualities are integrated, they create a presence, a state of being that is the ultimate source of influence and strength. It is power that does not need to be announced, because it is felt by everyone around you. This is the ultimate goal of the Stoic path, to become a person of such solid and well-ordered character that your very presence is a force for good, a source of stability and reason in a chaotic world. This is not about being passive or weak. The deep river is the most powerful feature in the landscape. Its quietness is a sign of its depth and its immense, focused momentum. Unleashing your unbeatable power means allowing this deep current of your disciplined character to flow through your actions, your words, and even your silence. Your final practice is not a new exercise, but a new way of being. Your task from this day forward is to practice action from stillness. Before any significant action you take, a conversation with your child, a decision at work, a creative project, you will first connect with your inner center of quiet strength. You will take a moment to be the river, to feel the deep, silent current of your purpose and discipline beneath the surface chatter of your mind. You will ask yourself, what action would flow from the deepest, quietest, and strongest part of me right now? This practice ensures that your actions are no longer driven by ego, by anxiety, or by the need for external approval. They are driven by your core. You will find that you speak less, but your words have more weight. You will find that you act with less frantic energy, but your actions are more effective. You are no longer trying to prove your power. You are simply allowing it to flow. You are the river, and your actions are the steady, powerful current that shapes the world around you. The benefit of this final integration is the emergence of an authentic and unbeatable you. Your power will no longer be a fragile thing, dependent on external circumstances. It will be a deep, internal wellspring that you can draw upon in any situation. You will move through the world with a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken, a peaceful strength that cannot be defeated. You have disciplined your mind and defied distraction, and in doing so, you have unleashed the serene, unstoppable force of your own character. From the focused power of a magnifying glass to the silent strength of a deep river, you now hold the keys to Stoic discipline. You have learned to focus your mind, master your triggers, and transform distractions into strength. This is the path to unlocking your own unbeatable inner power. Thank you for walking this path with us. Your commitment to harnessing your own discipline is a powerful act that inspires everyone. If this journey has empowered you, Please like the video, share your experience in the comments, and subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to continue building your unbeatable mind.